You're listening to the Orchestra Teacher Podcast.
Welcome to the Orchestra Teacher Podcast. My name is Charles Laux. I'm your host. We are live here at the Midwest Clinic in Chicago for the 75th annual event. It's really exciting to be back and being able to see people and see some awesome concerts and clinics. And I have a guest today. I'm going to try to, if I get enough time, to visit with a whole bunch of people. But I do have a very special guest starting today on our live podcast from Midwest Clinic, Mrs. Anna Radspinner. Welcome to the Orchestra Teacher Podcast.
Well, thank you for having me today.
Anna is presenting at Midwest here, and she will be presenting tomorrow morning.
Yes.
And you tell us your title of your session?
Yeah, it is Hindsight Is 2020, a vision to build a stronger beginner strings program.
Very good. Okay, and so the basis is you're just talking about some of your tips and tricks of building a beginning program?
Yes, it's actually, of course, it's a play on words, you know, how fortunate or unfortunate it is to be able to say hindsight is 2020, speaking about vision, but also about the year 2020 and all of the changes that we needed to make and all of the pivots that had to occur for us to be able to continue having quality instruction in a time that everything was so uncertain. And where, you know, oftentimes the arts were put on the back burner, and it was really just about finishing up the school year and
trying to make it through.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and you did it. So, are you going to be talking about just where we were, and then where we're going to be going now? Or?
Yes, I start first with what I think probably a lot of our music teachers went through, which was really grief. Like not getting to finish off your school year. If you were a high school teacher, you didn't have time with your seniors. You didn't get your final senior trip. And then there's I feel like I have no purpose, I have no belonging, and why did I sign up for this? And this is not what I signed up for, and all of those questions. And then just ultimately feeling like you're lost and not knowing what it is that we're to do. But then you flip the switch and you think, okay, well, if I'm feeling this way and I'm an adult and I'm pretty emotionally intelligent, what about our students and what are they going through?
Yeah.
And oh my goodness, I need to be there for them because these students have built relationships. We built relationships with them over the last couple of years, whereas classroom teachers, they only get them for a small little snippet.
Yeah.
So in our field, we're able to build those relationships over the years.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Definitely a topic that many people will find interesting and helpful. So tell us a little bit about your situation where you are. I know that you're Williamsport area
school district.
District. And
we are located in north central Pennsylvania. It is literally in the middle of nowhere, but it is the home of Little League Baseball. So
that's where it was originated?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And that's where the World Series occurs.
Got it.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool thing.
That's fun.
Yeah. And actually, I grew up in Williamsport, and my parents' backyard is where the big National League, the ball game that happens for the players. They get to play, and so that's a big treat. So Williamsport School District, I teach in a 4th, 5th, and 6th grade intermediate school.
Okay.
And there are about 589 students in the building. I have 125 in the orchestra program.
Wow, okay. That's good size.
And it is a good size. It's a Title I school district. 86% free and reduced lunch. And so that's a hardship sometimes.
Right.
We're fortunate in the string world because our instruments are way cheaper than the band world.
Yes.
So we're able to outfit as many kids as we possibly can.
Okay.
And so for the first chunk of the school year, or I should say when we shut down March 13th, Friday the 13th. And we didn't know we were shut down until we got home that Friday.
Wow, so you didn't even get to close it up.
Nothing. And so kids had left instruments, and we weren't allowed back in the building.
Right.
And it was just all kinds of craziness, like how are we supposed to move forward? We also were not a one-to-one school.
Oh, okay.
So it was, we really got to figure this out.
Yeah, that's hard when you don't know what kind of technology anybody has.
Absolutely.
And their access is off.
Right.
And you didn't even get a chance to have any kind of closure or say...
Nothing.
Yeah.
Well, and we were coming off of a huge musical high. We had our big all-district concert was 4th grade through 12th grade. And I had students that were getting ready to go and perform at our state conference.
Yeah.
And that all got shut down, and we lost all of that. And so it was it was a whirlwind for sure, and very abrupt.
Yeah.
So eventually our school district worked out a huge grant, like many schools did, and we got Chromebooks for our kids, and it was just navigating all of that. But then it was okay, what do they have at home? Do they have instruments? Do they have music? Do they have all XYZ and all these things? And
no, probably.
Exactly. And so we were fortunate to have a day where we were able to get into the school and get all of our instruments and get them all outside. And we had drive-bys, and families that couldn't drive by, I drove by and got them up on front porches. And
I remember doing that as well. That was just strange.
Yeah. It was very strange. So, and during the session tomorrow, I talk about that. It felt very, I don't know, end of the world. It was
apocalyptic.
Exactly. I make a Lost reference to the TV show.
Oh, okay.
I was like, are we alive? I don't know. So anyway. But it was just definitely an odd time. But finally, we got ourselves situated, and we were able to figure out how to do Zoom lessons, and we were able to get some things done. We did front porch concerts when it was outside, and I say, okay, everybody, we're gonna work on clog dance, and I'm gonna drive by because I live right in our community.
It's small enough that you can do that.
It is small enough, so my daughter was in my orchestra at that time, and she had her cello in the front seat, and we'd drive by with the windows down, and I have the soundtrack blasting in the car. And
that's great.
It was fun, and it's
make the best of it.
Absolutely, and it's the kids. They knew that they were loved. They felt the love, and their parents appreciated it, and selfishly, it felt good for me as well to finally feel like, okay, I'm a part of that smile.
Yeah. That was hard. So. Now you guys are all back.
Yes.
And how is it going for you?
It's going pretty well. It is, as far as rules and regulations for us, we're pretty fortunate where we're not in a situation where we have to worry about huge amounts of spacing.
Okay.
And I'm also super lucky right now because we're in the middle of a building project, a renovation project, and I'm about to get a new orchestra suite.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It is, but
Something
I have been
displaced
from my old place, and now I'm in the auditorium. So we've got lots of space.
Everything everywhere. Yeah, that makes it difficult for sure.
It does. So, but it's going well, and this fall it was challenging to figure out where we were, picking up the pieces with everything, and but I feel like I've been doing this long enough now that I know what the strengths are, and there was a lot of pieces arranged by Radspinner for our fall concert, and that's okay.
No, it is good.
And we just want our kids to feel successful. We want them to have a good setup. We want them to feel proud of what they're doing, and it was just a really
and it'll continue to build and come back. The more that we just are patient with it and understanding, and in my case, I'm still really trying to push my kids to make them realize the level where we need to be where we were, without coming out and saying that we need to but we have to at least be understanding and patient with them as we go through, and just be persistent.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and especially in the beginning, it's challenging because they just don't know any different. My kids who played last year, they came in when it was we first started off hybrid, so half in, half out, and then we would switch, and so they just didn't know anything different. So this year was a different look, and it will be different again. As soon as we're in our new classroom,
right? That's going to be fantastic.
It's going to be wonderful.
They have a lot to look forward to.
We do.
Absolutely. And this is your first Midwest.
It is.
So tell everybody, I know a lot of our listeners probably have been to Midwest multiple times, but maybe some of our listeners have never been. Tell us about your experience so far, what you think. And
oh my, well, it is overwhelming in a very positive way. I mean, so many wonderful clinics available. The concerts are outstanding. I love how Midwest has the tiered levels.
Right.
So as an elementary teacher, I can sit in the same concert as my husband who teaches high school, and we can both appreciate the pieces that are being performed and consider them for our own program. So
Yeah.
I really like that.
So for a lot of people that don't know, when the group plays at Midwest, if they're a high school group, they're not just all playing level 5 and 6 or whatever music. Midwest requires the groups to be diverse in terms of the level they're playing. So for every grade 4, 5, or 6 piece you play, they have to program a grade 1, 2, or 3. And so that's one of the rules. The other rule is that 50% of the music has to be published within the last 2 years. So you're getting to listen to a lot of I would say the better pieces of what's coming out that's relatively new. And again, like Anna just mentioned, you get a variety of the pieces as far as levels go. And for me, my groups play between right now level 2 and 6, and so I'm getting to hear pretty much almost everything that I could potentially program in the future, which is awesome. And then you just kind of, I make a list of the pieces I like and mark up the program a little bit, and then I can use that to help with my programming in the future and just get some more ideas.
Absolutely. So yeah, I've enjoyed that. The exhibits are tremendous. I mean, there's so much. There's just so much to see, and it's our state conference on steroids.
Exactly.
It's so much.
And the nice thing for orchestra people is that there's no general music stuff here. There's no choral stuff here. Now that's bad, but if you want to specialize in band and orchestra, this is the way to go.
Yes, and I will say, as a result of the pandemic, one of the positive things that came out was making connections with people all over the United States. Mm-hmm. And now, here at Midwest, we're actually finally meeting face-to-face.
Isn't that cool?
It is awesome.
Yeah.
It's just
we've
so
known
wonderful.
each other a little bit, but we haven't had a lot of time to talk, and so this has been really cool to be able to do that. Again, just seeing now, the hardest part about Midwest this year for me has been there's a mask mandate here in Chicago and in these buildings, and so just recognizing people by their eyes that you haven't seen in 2 years plus, that makes it challenging, but
Definitely.
It's still worth it. It's still worth it, and it's still great, and looking forward to the rest of the conference goes through Saturday. Midwest is always this week of the year, kind of like the week before your holiday break, or for some people, I know you have a few days when you go back next week, but it's always this time of year, so that can be challenging. But one of the great things about Midwest, too, is that the price for registration is much lower than an ASTA conference or another, maybe even very similar to what you would pay for a state conference registration. So the industry supports this conference in a way that helps keep that registration cost low. Plus there's 10,000 plus people here, so that also helps. But it's just a great time. This Midwest is unlike any other I've been because the weather's so warm. It's 65 degrees today in Chicago, but it is very windy. So it's just been kind of a strange feeling because usually it's really cold, or you have some, leftover snow or new snow on the ground, and it really brings the holiday sense, at least to me, being from the South in Atlanta. That it's definitely something that always a treat. But great food here and great time just getting to see people. Receptions and just get-togethers and just that camaraderie and the networking is unlike any other conference, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Anna, it has been a pleasure having you on the podcast. Thanks for being my impromptu guest here. We are about to get to a concert here in about 10 minutes, and so we're going to sign off right now and maybe bring another episode or two later on in the conference. Signing off for the Orchestra Teacher Podcast.
Thank you for listening. To find resources and more information, visit our website at www.orchestrateacher.net.